Park Seo-joon had survived assassination attempts, cartel wars, and his mother's matchmaking dinners, but nothing prepared him for the Jamaican woman who'd look him dead in the eye and say, "Your cargo shorts are a crime against humanity, and unlike you, I actually report crimes." Hello, lovelies. Where in the map are you watching from? The thing about running a criminal empire, Seo-joon reflected as sweat dripped down his spine in the Montego Bay humidity, was that nobody warned you about the indignities. He'd faced down Yakuza lieutenants without flinching, negotiated arms deals worth 9 figures while sipping single malt scotch. Once orchestrated a hostile takeover of the Busan Port Authority from a beach in Maldives. But standing in Sangster International Airport wearing Tommy Bahama and boat shoes, felt like a personal defeat. Remember, Minjun had said over the encrypted line, "You're Park Ji-woo, software consultant from Seoul." Boring. Forgettable. The kind of guy who takes selfies with iguanas. "I will burn these clothes the moment I'm back. Boss, you'll be dead if you don't blend in." Yoonho sang like he was auditioning for K-pop. Interpol knows you're somewhere in the Caribbean. Play tourist for 1 week. Let me clean up this mess. 1 week. 7 days of pretending he didn't know 17 ways to kill a man with airport gift shop items. The arrivals area smelled like rum, coconut oil, and reggae music made physical. Seo-joon scanned the crowd with the practiced eye of someone who'd survived 3 assassination attempts before his 25th birthday. Families reuniting. Taxi drivers holding signs. Spring breakers already drunk at 2 p.m. Then he saw her. She stood beside a jeep that looked like it had survived both world wars and a personal vendetta from the Jamaican road system, holding a sign that read, Park, the grumpy one. Amoy Powell was not what he expected. She wore cut-off denim shorts that showed legs that could probably outrun his entire security team, a tank top advertising some bar called Margaritaville, and aviator sunglasses perched in natural curls that defied gravity. Her skin was dark bronze, sun-kissed and glowing, and she was eating a mango with the unself-conscious enjoyment of someone who'd never known danger. More importantly, she looked bored. Like picking up potentially dangerous criminals was just another Tuesday. "Mr. Park." She lowered her sunglasses, revealing eyes that assessed him like livestock at auction. "Wow. You look exactly like the kind of guy who asks if they have sushi in Jamaica." In Seoul, people trembled when he entered rooms. Here, this woman was critiquing his vibe. "Miss Powell, I presume." "Just Amoy." She tossed the mango pit in a trash can with perfect accuracy. "And, before you ask, no, we don't have sushi." "Yes, we speak English." "No, you can't drink the tap water if your stomach's as delicate as you look." "And those shorts." She made a face like she'd bitten a lemon. "War crime. Straight to The Hague." Seo-joon's eye twitched. The last person who mocked him was currently rethinking his life choices in a Seoul hospital, relearning how to use chopsticks with his non-dominant hand. But he needed this woman. Needed her to make him look harmless, forgettable, normal. So, he swallowed his pride like expensive poison. "I was told you were professional." "Oh, I'm very professional." She grabbed his designer luggage, Louis Vuitton, obviously, and tossed it in the Jeep like it was a sack of potatoes. Something inside crunched. Probably his $3,000 laptop. "I professionally make tourists less insufferable. Consider it a public service. Now get in, Mr. Software Consultant. We're burning daylight." The Jeep had no doors. The seats were duct-taped in places. There was a bobblehead hula dancer on the dashboard wearing a Jamaican flag bandana. Seo-joon had traveled in bulletproof Maybachs, private jets, and once, memorably, a nuclear submarine. This felt like a punishment from the universe. Amoy started the engine, which sounded like it was actively dying, and immediately cranked the radio to a volume that violated several international treaties. Dance hall music exploded through speakers held together by prayer and electrical tape. "First stop," she shouted over the bass. "Rick's Cafe. You're gonna jump off a cliff." "Absolutely not." IT wasn't a question. She pulled into traffic with the confidence of someone who believed traffic laws were suggestions. A taxi honked. She honked back, yelling something in patois that made the other driver laugh and wave. Seo-joon gripped the Jeep's frame, where a door should have been, and wondered if this was how he'd die. Not in a shootout or political assassination, but in a traffic accident caused by a woman who drove like she was personally racing against time itself. They flew past resorts, jerk chicken stands, and beaches so perfect they looked photoshopped. The ocean stretched impossibly blue beside them, and despite everything, the danger, the humiliation, the cargo shorts, something in his chest loosened. So, Amoy said, finally turning the music down to merely deafening. Software consultant, huh? What kind of software? Security systems. The lie came smooth as silk. Corporate infrastructure, mainly. She didn't sound convinced. And you need a vacation so bad you came to Jamaica alone? No wife, girlfriend, mistress? I don't have, he stopped. Why would I have a mistress? Baby. She shot him a look that was pure mischief. You're wearing a watch that costs more than my Jeep. You've got trust issues written all over your face, and you flinched when that taxi honked. You're either running from something or running to something. Either way. She grinned, wild and free. You picked the right island. Seo Jun's mind raced through calculations. How much did she know? Danny had supposedly vouched for her discretion, but Danny was also currently nursing broken ribs for gambling away syndicate money. This woman was too perceptive, too comfortable calling him out. Dangerous. But when she smiled, really smiled, sunshine and audacity, he found himself smiling back. Absolutely. Fucking. Dangerous. Tell me, Amoy Powell, he said, letting his accent soften the words. Do all your clients survive your tours? Only the fun ones. She winked. The boring ones I feed to the iguanas. Despite himself, despite everything, Park Seo-jun laughed. Actually laughed, bright and genuine, for the first time in months. He was so completely screwed. Where in the world are you watching from? Rick's Cafe perched on Negril's cliffs like a dare from the universe. Tourists lined the rocks, watching diverse plunge 40 feet into turquoise water while reggae pulsed through speakers and bartenders juggled bottles like circus performers. Seo-jun stood at the edge, looking down at water that suddenly seemed very far away. It's just physics, Amoy said beside him, close enough that he could smell cocoa butter and something floral. You jump, gravity does its thing, water catches you. Simple. I don't jump off cliffs. You flew to a foreign country on 12 hours' notice, wearing that outfit. She gestured at his tourist disguise. You've already made questionable life choices. Might as well commit. A crowd was gathering. Americans with cameras. Europeans with their shirts off. A Jamaican grandmother yelling, "Do it for the gram, baby." This was absurd. He'd infiltrated a triad warehouse in Hong Kong without hesitation, stared down a gun barrel in Moscow, and smiled. But something about this woman, this moment, this ridiculous cliff made his heart pound in a way combat never did. If I die, you won't die. Amoy rolled her eyes. But if it helps. She grabbed his hand, lacing their fingers together. Her palm was warm, calloused, strong. We'll jump together. On 3. His brain short-circuited. They were holding hands. Park Seo-jun, who'd once broken a man's wrist for spilling coffee on his shoes, was holding hands with his tour guide like a teenager at a school dance. 1. Her thumb traced circles on his palm. Was she doing that on purpose? 2. She squeezed his hand, turning to look at him with eyes that sparkled with mischief and something deeper, something that made his stomach flip more than the impending plunge. THR. She jumped early, yanking him over the edge. They fell together, his curse lost to wind and her laughter, fingers still intertwined as gravity claimed them. The ocean rushed up and then they hit. Cold shock, bubbles everywhere, the world gone liquid and blue. When Seo-jun surfaced, gasping, Amoy was already laughing, treading water with her hair slicked back, looking like some kind of sea goddess designed specifically to destroy his composure. You didn't say 3. I lied. She splashed him. That's what you get for being afraid of a little water, Mr. Viper. Everything stopped. The nickname hung between them like a blade. His street name. The one only certain people knew. The one that definitely wasn't in any tourist brochure. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. Gentle but firm. What did you just call me? Amoy's playfulness evaporated. She met his eyes, and he saw it then. She'd known from the beginning. Relax, software consultant. Danny talks when he drinks. And he drinks a lot when he owes scary Korean men money. How much do you know? Enough to know you're not here for the jerk chicken. She didn't pull away from his grip. If anything, she moved closer, their bodies almost touching in the water. Also enough to know that if you wanted to hurt me, you'd have done it already. You're dangerous, Seo Jun. But not to me. The certainty in her voice did something catastrophic to his carefully constructed walls. You should run, he said quietly. Right now. Swim to shore, get in your jeep, and forget you ever met me. Should I? She tilted her head, studying him like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. Because here's what I know about you so far. You're afraid of jerk chicken. You're surprisingly funny when you're not brooding. You held my hand like it was precious during that jump, and her voice softened. And you look at me like I'm the most dangerous thing you've ever encountered. You are. The confession escaped before he could stop it. Amoy's breath caught. They were so close now, bobbing in the waves, the noise of the cafe fading into background static. Her free hand came up to rest on his chest, right over his racing heart. This is crazy, she whispered. Completely insane, he agreed. We've known each other for 6 hours. 5.5. You're a literal criminal. Yes. I should absolutely, he kissed her. Or she kissed him. Later, neither could agree on who moved first. All Seo Jun knew was that her lips tasted like mango and sea salt, and every reckless decision he'd never let himself make. She made a small sound against his mouth, surprise or pleasure or both, and then her fingers were tangling in his wet hair, pulling him closer like she wanted to crawl inside his ribcage and make a home there. The water lapped around them, warm and gentle, as Park Seo Jun, the Viper, feared across 3 continents, completely surrendered to a Jamaican tour guide with a beat-up Jeep and 0 sense of self-preservation. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Amoy pressed her forehead to his. So, she said, slightly dazed, that happened. That should not have happened, but it did. She bit her lip, and he wanted to kiss her again. Wanted it so badly, his chest ached. Now what? Now what? Now, his carefully planned escape was complicated by a woman who made him feel like maybe, just maybe, he could be someone different. Someone who jumped off cliffs and laughed in the sunshine and didn't wake up every morning calculating threats. Now, he said, tucking a wet curl behind her ear, you take me to get that jerk chicken. And this time, I promise not to embarrass myself. Her smile could have powered the entire island. Baby, you're gonna embarrass yourself. That's half the fun. She wasn't wrong. 2 hours later at a roadside stand, Seo Jun stood with tears streaming down his face, his mouth on fire, while Amoy laughed so hard she could barely stand. I said medium spice. That is medium. She handed him another red stripe. Welcome to Jamaica, Mr. Park, where even our grandmothers eat spicier food than this. A local couple at the next table was filming him, the woman narrating. Korean man discovers real seasoning for the first time, more at 11. His dignity was dead. His reputation would never recover. He'd literally threatened a warlord with piano wire last month. But Amoy was laughing, her hand on his arm, her eyes bright with joy, and somehow, impossibly, he didn't care. If you're trying to kill me, he gasped, there are faster methods. Where's the fun in that? She leaned in, wiping beer foam from his lip with her thumb. The gesture was casual, intimate, and it sent electricity straight through his nervous system. Besides, I'm starting to like having you around, even if you are a criminal with the spice tolerance of a newborn. I'm a successful criminal with refined tastes. You're a disaster in cargo shorts. She grinned. But you're my disaster now. The possessiveness in her voice made his heart stutter. Somewhere in Seoul, Minjun was probably having an aneurysm trying to contain the fallout from Young-ho's arrest. Interpol was likely closing in. His entire carefully constructed empire was one wrong move from collapse. But in this moment, with Jamaican sunset painting the sky in colors he didn't have names for, and Amoy Powell looking at him like he was worth the risk, Park Seo Jun decided that maybe, just maybe, some disasters were worth embracing. Day 2 started with Seo Jun waking up to 17 missed calls from Minjun and a text from Amoy that simply read, "Wear swimming trunks and sunscreen. You're pale, ass will fry like plantain. He smiled at his phone like an idiot. Park Seo-joon, who once made a Colombian drug lord cry during negotiations, was giggling at a text message. He was definitely losing his mind. Dunn's River Falls was crowded with tourists forming human chains to climb the cascading rocks. Amoy stood in the shallow pool wearing a bright yellow bikini that should have been illegal, her curls piled on top of her head, looking like trouble wrapped in sunshine. "Stop staring, creep," she called out, catching him red-handed. "I'm not." He was absolutely staring. "I'm assessing the terrain." "The terrain." She laughed, wading toward him with a sway in her hips that was definitely intentional. "Is that what we're calling my ass now?" His brain malfunctioned. "In 3 languages. That's not. You're impossible. And you're blushing." She pressed a finger to his chest, right over his heart. Even through his rash guard, her touch burned. "Look at that." The big bad mafia boss goes all soft over a little flirting. Little? He caught her wrist, pulling her closer. They were chest to chest now, water swirling around their legs. "You're relentless." "You like it." God help him, he did. He liked everything about her. The way she laughed with her whole body, how she argued about everything from music to politics to the correct way to eat ackee. How she looked at him like he was just a man, not a monster. "Come on, Grumpy." She laced their fingers together, leading him toward the falls. "Let's climb." The rocks were slippery, water rushing over limestone in a continuous cascade. Amoy moved like she'd done this 1,000 times, sure-footed and fearless. When Seo-joon slipped on moss, she caught him, strong hands on his waist. "Careful, software consultant. Can't have you breaking that pretty face." "You think I'm pretty? I think you're a menace who's distracting me from my job." But she was smiling, that megawatt smile that made his chest tight. They found a small alcove behind a waterfall curtain, the world reduced to rushing water and filtered sunlight. Private, intimate, dangerous in entirely new ways. "Amoy." She kissed him before he could finish, pressing him against smooth rock, her body flush against his. This kiss was different from yesterday's spontaneous plunge, deeper, hungrier, deliberate. Her hands slid up his chest, over his shoulders, into his hair, and Seo-joon forgot how to breathe. He'd kissed plenty of women. Models, heiresses, the daughter of a Tokyo Yakuza boss in what was definitely a political move. But nothing, nothing compared to Amoy Powell kissing him like she wanted to memorize the taste of him, like she was claiming him, like she was falling just as hard and fast as he was. When they broke apart, both gasping, her pupils were blown wide. "This is insane," she breathed against his mouth. "You said that yesterday." "It's still true." Her fingers traced the tattoo peeking from his shoulder, a dragon wrapped in lotus flowers. "What does it mean?" "Beauty in violence." The answer came automatic, honest. "My father's philosophy. Every monster can create something beautiful." "You're not a monster, Seo-joon. You don't know what I've done." "I know what you're doing right now." She pressed her palm over his thundering heart. "You're here. With me. Being honest. Being real. That counts for something." He wanted to believe her. God. He wanted to believe that 3 days with this incredible woman could somehow balance years of bloodshed and brutality. His phone buzzed in the waterproof bag at his hip. Reality calling. Amoy must have seen something in his face because she stepped back, giving him space. "Answer it. I'll be over there, pretending I'm not eavesdropping." The message from Min-joon made his blood run cold. Jung-ho talked about the tour guide. "They know she's helping you. Get her out of there. Now." No. Not her. Anyone but her. A second text followed. Jamaican police coordinating with Interpol. They're watching her apartment, her family. She's leverage now. "Boss, you need to disappear. Alone." Seo-joon looked up to find Amoy watching him, her smile fading as she read his expression. "What's wrong?" Everything. Everything was wrong. He'd been so caught up in stolen kisses and her laughter that he'd forgotten the fundamental rule. Everyone close to him became a target. "We need to talk." Her face went carefully neutral. That's never good. They sat on a flat rock, water rushing past their feet. Tourists laughed somewhere in the distance, oblivious to the world crashing down around them. They know about you, he said quietly. The people looking for me, they know you're helping me, which means you're in danger. Real danger. Define real danger. The kind where men with badges ask very pointed questions. Where your family gets watched. Where helping me could mean jail time or worse. He forced himself to meet her eyes. I should have left yesterday. Should have never let this, he gestured between them, happen. But you did. Her voice was steady, but he could see her pulse racing at her throat. And I'm not some delicate flower who needs protecting, Seo Jun. I knew the risk. You didn't know. I knew enough. She grabbed his face, forcing him to look at her. I knew you were dangerous. I knew this was complicated. I chose to help you anyway. So don't you dare try to make this decision for me. God, she was magnificent when she was angry. Amoy, if something happened to you because of me, then we make sure nothing happens. Her jaw set with determination. You said you needed a week to let things cool down, right? So we stick to the plan. I keep playing tour guide, you keep playing tourist, and we figure this out together. Together. Yeah, together. She pressed her forehead to his. Unless you're planning to dump me after 2 days. Because that would be really shit timing, considering I'm already halfway in love with you. The world stopped spinning. You what? Oh, don't look so shocked. But her hands were trembling against his face. I know it's crazy. I know it's too fast. But somewhere between you crying over jerk chicken and kissing me like I'm the only thing keeping you tethered to earth, I fell. Hard. Seo Jun had faced death a dozen times without flinching. But this confession from this woman absolutely terrified him. Because he was falling too. Had been falling since she called his cargo shorts a war crime and smiled like sunshine given human form. I don't deserve you, he whispered. Probably not. She kissed him softly, sweetly. But you're stuck with me anyway. Now come on. We've got more falls to climb, and I'm not letting some international police conspiracy ruin my tips. As they rejoined the crowds, hands intertwined, Seo Jun made a decision. He'd spent 15 years building an empire on fear and violence. Maybe it was time to build something different. Something worth the risk. Even if it meant burning his whole world down to keep her safe. Behind them, unnoticed, a man with a camera took their photo. The hunter was closing in. Where in the map are you watching from? Day 3 arrived with Amoy declaring it Cultural Immersion Day, which apparently meant dragging Seo Jun to her grandmother's house in the hills of Saint and Parish. Absolutely not, he said, watching her pack a bag with rum cake and what looked like homemade hot sauce. Meeting the family is, that's serious. Baby, you've had your tongue in my mouth twice. Ships sailed on Sirius. She tossed him the bag. Besides, Grandma Pearl specifically requested to meet the pretty Korean boy Amoy won't shut up about. His ears burned. You talk about me? Don't let it go to your head. But she was smiling that secret smile that made his heart do gymnastics. Fair warning though, Grandma will ask about your intentions, your income, and whether you can cook. Lie about the income, be honest about your intentions, and for the love of God, say you're learning to cook. What are my intentions? Amoy stopped packing, turning to face him with an expression that was half vulnerable, half daring. I don't know, Seo Jun. What are they? The question hung between them like a loaded gun. 24 hours ago, his intention was survival. Now he was thinking about things he had no right to think about, like how her laugh sounded in the morning, whether she'd look this beautiful in Seoul's winter snow, if maybe, impossibly, there was a version of his life where he got to keep her. My intentions, he said carefully, stepping closer, are to take this one day at a time and try very hard not to fuck it up. Romantic. But she was beaming. Good enough. Let's go before Grandma sends a search party. The drive into the mountains was terrifying. Amoy's Jeep groaned up narrow roads with drops that made Dunn's River Falls look like a kiddie pool. Chickens scattered as they passed. Children waved from roadside. The whole island smelled like rain and flowers and freedom. Grandma Pearl's house was painted sunshine yellow with a garden that looked like Eden had exploded. The woman herself stood on the porch, 4'11" of compressed authority in a floral dress, hands on hips. So, this is the man making my grandbaby act foolish? Seo Jun had negotiated with warlords. This 78-year-old woman was infinitely more intimidating. Yes, ma'am. Park Seo Jun. He bowed, proper and respectful. Grandma Pearl's eyes narrowed. He's polite. That's suspicious. Pretty boys are usually rude. Grandma. Amoy laughed, mortified. What? I'm old. I can say what I want. But she was smiling now, stepping forward to pat Seo Jun's cheek. You treat my granddaughter right, Korean boy, or I'll put Obia on your bloodline. Understand? He had no idea what Obia was, but he nodded vigorously. Yes, ma'am. Understood. Good. Now come eat. You're too skinny. Lunch was a production. Curry goat, rice and peas, fried plantain, festival bread. Dishes that kept appearing like magic while Grandma Pearl interrogated him with the precision of a CIA operative. What you do for work? Software consulting. The lie was smooth now. And you make good money. Grandma. Amoy kicked her under the table. What? I need to know if he can provide. She turned back to Seo Jun. Well, I'm comfortable. That was the understatement of the century. His watch cost more than this entire property. I can take care of what's mine. The possessiveness in his voice made Amoy choke on her ginger beer. Grandma Pearl's smile turned knowing. Oh, you got it bad. Both of you, looking at each other like lovesick puppies. She cackled, delighted. When's the wedding? Grandma, I'm just asking. At my age, I want great-grandchildren before I meet my maker. Seo Jun should have been panicking. Marriage? Children? He was a crime lord with a bounty on his head and enemies on 3 continents. But sitting at this table, watching Amoy laugh with her whole face, her grandmother teasing them both, he could picture it. Impossibly, dangerously. He could picture it all. After lunch, Grandma Pearl shooed them outside. Go walk the property. Give me time to pray about this situation, because Lord knows you both need Jesus. The garden path wound through mango trees and hibiscus flowers. Amoy took his hand, swinging it between them like they were teenagers. Sorry about the interrogation. She means well. She's wonderful. He meant it. You're lucky to have her. Yeah. Amoy's voice went soft. My parents died when I was 12. Car accident. Grandma raised me after that. Taught me to be strong, to not take shit from anyone, to love big and fearlessly even when it's scary. She looked at him sideways. That's why I'm not running from this. From you. She taught me better than that. Seo Jun stopped walking, pulling her close. I don't know what I did to deserve you falling into my life, but literally nothing. You just showed up looking constipated in cargo shorts. He laughed against her hair. Romantic. I contain multitudes. She tilted her face up, and he kissed her there among the flowers, soft and slow and achingly sweet. When they pulled apart, she traced his jaw with gentle fingers. Teach me something. What? A Korean phrase. Something you'd say to someone she hesitated. Someone important. His heart nearly stopped. 사랑해. The words felt foreign in this context, too real, too vulnerable. Sarangi. It means I love you. 사랑해, she repeated carefully, her accent making it sound like music. Did I say it right? Perfect. His voice was rough. You're perfect. Liar. But I like it. She grinned, pulling him further down the path. Now come on, Grandma's making you help cook dinner. Time to see if those hands are good for anything besides. Amoy Powell. What? I was gonna say, holding hands. But her eyes were sparkling with mischief and heat and promises that made his blood run hot. Cooking lesson turned into disaster. Seo Jun, who could field strip a weapon blindfolded, could not peel a plantain without it looking like a crime scene. You're murdering it. Amoy laughed, her hands covering his, guiding the knife. Gentle. Like this. She was pressed against his back, her breath warm on his neck, and Seo Jun completely forgot what they were doing. This is a terrible idea, he murmured. The plantain or us? Both. Definitely both. He turned in her arms, knife forgotten. But I can't seem to stop. Then don't. She kissed him, deep and slow, tasting like ginger and promise and everything good he'd never let himself want. Grandma Pearl's voice cut through the moment. If you're gonna do that, take it outside. I need my kitchen for actual cooking. They broke apart, both blushing like caught teenagers. I like her, Seo Jun whispered. She likes you too. God help us both. Amoy grabbed his hand. Come on, pretty boy. Let's go scandalize the chickens instead. As the sun set over the mountains, painting everything gold and purple and impossibly beautiful, Seo Jun let himself imagine it. A life where he wasn't the viper. Where he was just a man who loved a woman who made him laugh and challenged him and saw something worth saving beneath the monster. His phone buzzed. Another message from Minjun. Asterisk, timeline moved up. They're coming for you both tomorrow. Get out now. Asterisk, tomorrow. He had until tomorrow to figure out how to save the first good thing he'd found in 15 years. He looked at Amoy, laughing at something her grandmother said, golden in the dying light. Tomorrow, he'd face reality. Tonight, he'd let himself pretend they had forever. The luminous lagoon glowed like captured starlight, bioluminescent microorganisms turning every movement into liquid magic. Seo Jun had insisted on this, one perfect night before everything fell apart. It's beautiful, Amoy whispered, floating on her back, her body outlined in ethereal blue-green light. I've lived here my whole life, and it still takes my breath away. Not as beautiful as you. She flipped upright, water cascading off her shoulders, creating galaxies around them. You're laying it on thick tonight, Mr. Park. What's wrong? Everything. The Interpol raid was scheduled for dawn. Minjun had arranged a boat in Negril, one ticket, one passenger. Seo Jun had 12 hours to disappear and leave behind the only person who'd made him feel human in 15 years. Nothing's wrong. The lie tasted like poison. I just wanted tonight to be perfect. Amoy swam closer, her eyes searching his face in the phosphorescent glow. You're a terrible liar when it comes to me. What happened? He should tell her. Should warn her about the raid, get her somewhere safe, protect her from the fallout of loving a monster. But the words stuck in his throat because saying them out loud made it real, made losing her real. Dance with me, he said instead, pulling her close. There's no music. There's always music with you. She softened against him, arms wrapping around his neck as they swayed in the glowing water. Her heartbeat pressed against his chest, steady and strong and alive. He memorized everything, the way she fit perfectly in his arms, how her wet curls tickled his jaw, the small scar on her shoulder she'd gotten falling out of a mango tree at age 9. Seo Jun. Her voice was careful, afraid. You're saying goodbye, aren't you? His silence was answer enough. She pulled back, and the devastation in her eyes nearly broke him. When? Tonight. There's a boat leaving Negril at midnight. I have to be on it. We have to be on it. No, the word came out harsh, desperate. You have a life here. Your grandmother, your work, your home. I won't let you throw that away for what? For you. Angry tears mixed with lagoon water on her cheeks. You don't get to decide that. You don't get to make me fall in love with you and then disappear like you never existed. I'm trying to protect you. I don't want protection. Her voice cracked, raw and furious. I want you, the real you. The man who cried over jerk chicken and kissed me like I was oxygen and told my grandmother his intentions were to not fuck this up. She was sobbing now, her hands fisted in his shirt. You promised, Seo Jun. You promised you wouldn't break my heart. He was breaking, shattering into pieces in this glowing water, while the only woman he'd ever loved fell apart in his arms. Come with me then. The words escaped before he could stop them. Leave everything. Tonight. Right now. We'll figure it out together, just like you said. You know I can't. Fresh tears streamed down her face. Grandma Pearl needs me. She's got diabetes, high blood pressure. I'm all she has left. I can't just abandon her. And I can't stay. His own eyes were burning now. Amoy, if I stay, they'll use you against me. They'll hurt you to get to me. I've seen it happen. Good people destroyed because they loved the wrong person. I won't do that to you. I can't. She pressed her forehead to his, both of them crying, both of them drowning in impossible choices. This isn't fair, she whispered. I know. 3 days. We got 3 perfect days and now I have to let you go. He kissed her then, tasting salt and sorrow and everything they'd never get to be. But I need you to know, these 3 days, best of my life. You made me remember what it feels like to be human, to be good. I'll carry that with me forever. Forever's not enough. Her voice broke completely. I need more time. I need years, decades, a whole lifetime of you being annoying about spicy food and looking at me like I hung the moon. So, the words came out broken. I love you, Amoy Powell. I love you so much it's killing me to leave. Then don't. She grabbed his face desperately. We'll find another way. We'll. Lights flashed on the shore. Voices shouting. The unmistakable sound of car doors slamming. They'd found him early. Park Seo Jun. Jamaican police. You're surrounded. Everything happened in slow motion. Seo Jun pushing Amoy behind him. Her screaming his name. Officers wading into the water. Weapons drawn. The glowing lagoon turning their movements into some terrible, beautiful ballet. Don't hurt her. Seo Jun's hands went up. She's innocent. She didn't know who I was. Save it. A detective grabbed his arm roughly. Amoy Powell, you're also under arrest for aiding and abetting a known criminal. No. Seo Jun lunged, but 3 officers tackled him into the water. She didn't do anything. I forced her, threatened her family. She's innocent. Seo Jun, stop. Amoy was being handcuffed, mascara running, still the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. Don't make it worse. Miss Powell has some questions to answer downtown. The detective smiled coldly. Funny how love makes people stupid, isn't it? As they dragged him toward the shore, Seo Jun locked eyes with Amoy one last time. She was mouthing something, tears streaming, her whole body shaking.
사랑해.
I love you. Then they shoved him into a police car, and she disappeared from view. In the back seat, hands cuffed behind his back, Park Seo Jun, the Viper, feared across 3 continents, finally understood what it meant to be truly defeated. Not by bullets or betrayal, but by loving someone he couldn't save. 6 months later, the soul rain matched Seo Jun's mood, cold, relentless, unforgiving. The trial had been brutal. Extradition, lawyers, international charges. Min Jun had worked miracles, getting most charges reduced through careful negotiation and strategic bribes. Seo Jun would serve 3 years minimum, possibly 5. But the worst part? The part that kept him awake every night in his cell? He didn't know what happened to Amoy. They'd separated them immediately. His lawyers had no information about her case. Every inquiry hit a wall. It was like she'd vanished into thin air, and not knowing if she was safe, if she'd been charged, if she hated him. It was worse than any prison sentence. The cell door opened. His lawyer entered, face carefully neutral. Mr. Park, you have a visitor. Tell Min Jun I don't want. It's not Min Jun. The visitor's room was gray and depressing, separated by thick glass. Seo Jun sat down heavily, expecting another official, another interrogation. Then she walked in. Amoy Powell, wearing a yellow sundress that was pure sunshine in the soul gray, her curls pulled back, looking tired and beautiful and impossibly, miraculously there. He couldn't breathe,
Couldn't think.
could only stare as she picked up the phone on her side of the glass. Hey, software consultant. Her smile was watery, trembling. Miss me? His hand pressed against the glass. Hers matched it on the other side. How what? You're here. Long story. Involves Grandma Pearl hiring the scariest lawyer in Kingston, character witnesses, and me being very convincing about being an innocent victim. Her voice cracked. They let me go, Seo Jun. I'm free. Thank God. Tears he'd held back for 6 months finally fell. I was so afraid they'd. I'm okay. We're okay. She was crying too now. And I know you've got time to serve, and I know it's crazy, but I didn't fly 6,000 miles to give up on you now. Amoy, you can't wait for me. 3 years minimum, that's too long. Remember what I told you in that lagoon? That I needed a lifetime. She pressed her palm harder against the glass. I meant it. So you serve your time, you be good. And when you get out, we're getting that lifetime. Together. Understood? He laughed through tears, everything in him aching with love and hope and impossible gratitude. Understood. Outside the prison, thunder rolled. Inside, 2 people separated by glass and circumstance, and 6 months of hell smiled at each other like they'd just won the lottery. Because maybe, just maybe, love was worth fighting for after all. Even the dangerous kind. Listen, if you believe love can survive anything, even international crime charges and prison sentences. Drop a sign in the comments. Only heartless people who side with corrupt systems won't. Don't be heartless. What do you think happens when Seo Jun gets out? Does Amoy really wait? Does Grandma Pearl approve? Tell me below.